Welcome to Have an Opinion. Nick and Kyle here, back for another episode. It's been a couple weeks, but we're finally back. We're finally ready. I'm finally ready to show my face again after the monstrosity that was the golf challenge. Got a lot on the menu coming up. We're not going to tell you what any of it is because one of them is a secret, so we might as well keep the whole show a secret. Stay tuned. And welcome back to Have an Opinion. It's Nick. It's Kyle. Kyle, it took a lot of courage for me to show my face on camera this week. A lot of courage after you beat me in the Have an Opinion golf challenge.
Well, sure, but are we considering yesterday's match as the rematch?
So the funny thing is, we planned on doing the rematch, and me and Kyle went yesterday, and I thought it was he bought these balls that go straight.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a casual dick around golf event, and Kyle starts writing 1 up, 2 up, and I said, "Oh, it's rematch day."
Oh,
I'm
fine with that.
I won the rematch apparently. So everything you saw is a sham because Kyle's a fraud apparently.
You didn't win the rematch. I mean, you single-handedly. I won 2 holes out of 9. That's bad.
My putting was on. That's the
Your putting
difference
was
maker.
on. Now that I know how to use those self-correcting balls, there's no need. Yeah, if you can drive the green with them, use them.
I told Kyle any hole that he won with the straightening balls was under protest, so
yeah,
it's per review of the council.
It might have been a 9-0 sweep.
The cancel. But yeah, excited to be back. Excited. Don't know how many opinions we have left because I just took a big boy job. That's not me trying to flex or bum Kyle out. It's just the fact of I'll be moving soon, and I like to think we'll have more opinions, but
I mean, if I visit,
he'll visit. We'll do them on the Allegheny River in a little raft, and we'll. Oh my! Hang on, like live on air. I had a thought. I can't think of what it was.
I was like, wait.
There was something that happened, and it was a great callback to the. Don't forget, it was the rocket that saved you, and I can't think of what it is now.
Oh.
But yeah, you still don't even know what's happening in this episode. Anyway, I've worked retail at a place where you need to have a membership to shop. And they have a Mountain Dew that's exclusive there called Monsoon Blue or something. Mm-hmm. Kyle keeps calling it Typhoon.
Typhoon. There used to be a Mountain Dew Typhoon.
What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at remember, it was the rocket. Like, it just hit me again that that's actually something you said to people.
Yeah, I saved them. That lady needed to be carried 10 feet.
She had her keys, and she didn't want to get her keys wet, so you just you pulled her to her family.
While we were kayaking, the lady's holding her keys up.
I haven't thought back
this
on
big
that in
river,
a while.
And the water was shallow as hell. It was moving, but not to where she was going to drown. And she was like, "Can I just grab onto your kayak and you can pull me to my family who is probably 15 yards away?" And I did it. And then after we let her go, I just yelled, "Don't forget it was the rocket that saved you," as if I stopped her from dying.
Like, it wasn't like a lot of those jokes that we tell. Like, if me and you are in public, I'll just say something to you and like only you hear it. Like,
right.
Those people, they heard you. And then we're like, we just scooted up. It just, rarely do we say things like that and like actually say them to people.
The difference, like, they weren't going to catch up to us.
Right. And
they weren't going to talk to us. They were a very slow moving group. So, like, I was never to see him again. Like, if I say that in public here, maybe I run into somebody again.
Right, exactly.
But 3 hours away on a camping trip, nah. We're fine.
I forgot that was like just an actual thing that happened. I haven't thought about it in a long time.
We got these Mountain Dews here. Kyle's pounding his down because he's had it before. I've never had this one, so I'm going to be taste testing instead of Kyle this time.
Yeah, I'll say it's a flavor you've probably tasted somewhat before. It's signature of a lot of Mountain Dew flavors where it's like
a big cup.
Yeah.
If I don't like this, you owe me 89 cents.
I mean, you can
if I do
pour
like it, you get your money back.
I have plenty of quarters for you.
That's very sweet.
Yeah. Does it almost taste like you've
it's
tasted
almost like
something
voltage,
like it,
but
not.
That's
how almost every blue Mountain Dew is, I swear. It's voltage and then they tweak it somehow. But you see how it's like if you had a can of it, like, cans aren't that big, it would be good. But like after you drink all that, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm probably good for a little while type thing. Compared to like, I think Code Red I could drink like daily.
All day?
Yeah. I don't know. That's how I am about Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I feel that.
Some flavors that are really good, they're just doses. You can't. Maybe I'm just getting old.
Oh, I don't know. Things in doses over here. What else we have today, Kyle? We have forensic files, and we have a secret topic. We can't do trivia like we were going to do on our last recorded episode that stopped recording and everything went to hell midway through. We did a trivia challenge. That'll be the big main event next time.
Okay.
No topics beforehand. We'll just figure it out as we plan the show going into our next week.
We should just do a trivia barrage. Like,
We
if you
could.
can find, like, a history, sports, movies, pop culture, music. I mean, the things we like to have opinions on.
Who's really got the most lethal weapon, you know? We'll find out in the big trivia barrage. But we do have a secret mission, a secret topic, if you will.
I mean, you have a secret.
I
don't know anything
do.
you're talking about.
So this very heavy box next to me is my record collection.
Oh. You know, I saw you grab that while we were setting up, and I thought nothing of it.
This is my record collection. I want you to find maybe 3 or 5 albums,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about them. It can be, why do you own this? It can be, this is a great album. I can't believe you own this. It can be, I've always wanted this. I don't care what it is. 3 to 5 of them. You look at them, you pick them out, and you say, we need to have an opinion on these. We'll be right back once Kyle makes his decision.
Alrighty,
Kyle's made his choices. We're back. There's a lot of anxiety while he was going through these.
Don't want to.
So we'll start with the first one. Why don't you hold it up for the people to see it once you introduce it?
Beach Boys, Pet Sounds.
Oh.
Some would probably say Beach Boys' best album. It's one of those, like, you know, it's Sgt. Pepper's, Led Zeppelin 2, just, you know, great albums. People talk about the album a lot. My question was, have you listened to the whole thing?
Yeah.
Is it as good as it is said to be? Because I know you're a lot bigger on the Beach Boys than I am. I'm more of a Frankie Valli guy, but I do like them. I just never listened to all of the songs other than Wouldn't It Be Nice? And gosh, that might be the only one I know on there.
I haven't listened to it in a while. I like this album, obviously, which is why I bought it on vinyl. Haven't been in a Beach Boys mood recently.
Sure.
But I mean, I think it's everything that you expect from the Beach Boys. There's the fun songs. There's the slower harmony kind of songs.
That was going to be my question. Like, even though there's only one of their major hits on there, it's still good to listen to. Okay.
Yeah, like the whole album is completely.
Because there's some Beatles albums where it's like Yellow
There's
Submarine.
one song that I can't think of that I thought was really corny, and I can't think of what it was because I probably, honest to God, haven't listened to this album in a year.
That's fine.
Aside from Wouldn't It Be Nice? But other than that, there's the one song I know I think is just a little too corny for me.
That's fine.
I love the album. Like I don't know even if I could say there's a song on it that like I really go to other than Wouldn't It Be Nice?
Sure.
But as an album, just like the flow of it, the whole Beach Boys kind of vibe and aura is really evident here.
Gotcha.
And I think that I think it lives up to the hype. Is the long-winded way of saying that. It definitely lives up to the hype.
That's good to know. Because there's some Beatles albums that either they've got, like, Yellow Submarine has Yellow Submarine, and like that's it.
As
and
I rudely cut you off when you tried to say that earlier.
You're
just
fine.
like I did again.
There's like 2 songs on there that are good. And then there's some Beatles albums. I can't name any off the top of my head. I'm kind of just reaching here. But I feel like there's some where it's like, man, this band's album is great. And then you listen to it and you're like, well, I mean, the 2 songs that I know are great, but it's not really like some deep cut or anything.
Do you know what I felt that about? One that you almost pulled, Abbey Road.
Abbey Road. I don't know all the songs on Abbey
genuinely
Road.
was underwhelmed by it.
I've never
and
listened
hopefully
to it.
no one's like, oh, you pretentious jerk. Like, you didn't know. And again, I haven't listened to the whole Beatles discography to, like, see their change and maturity and stuff.
Sure.
But listening to it, I probably liked about half of it.
Wow. Is that the one that has Come Together on it? It's their late stuff.
I think Come Together's on, yeah.
Hey Jude, maybe. I don't know.
Like I said, there's half
Let
of
It
it are
Be.
a little more really good, but some of the non-hits are just like, what the hell are they doing?
I feel like a lot of Beatles songs are either a slam dunk or you got stuff at the rim.
Someone tweeted the other day that a lot of the Beatles, not even some of their like hits, just sound like more advanced children's songs. And that's kind of how some of these feel. I don't know if Abbey Road exactly is one that fits that bill, but there's definitely some songs on it where you're like, the Beatles had a lot of misses for as many hits as they had. They have a lot of misses in terms of the non-single songs.
I will admit there were some, like, that were just popular because they were popular, like that "She Loves You," yeah, yeah, yeah song. I don't get it. I don't get the yelling. I don't get that that's a good song. I think it's just popular because they were popular.
What's your favorite Beatles song?
That is your favorite Beatles song?
No, what is your favorite Beatles
is?
song?
Goodness.
I don't know if we've ever asked that before. I don't know if the subject will ever come up again. So I got to throw it out there now.
From Me to You is good. It's like how does it go? Just call on me and I'll send it along with love from me to you.
Let's get it.
Yeah. That'd be a great gif. I really like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Like the song, like the...
Right.
That.
Yeah.
The problem is it's really quick because it's the opening and ending of the album. And it gets overshadowed by A Day in the Life and what's the other song on there? Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I also really like that song. I like a lot of Beatles songs. I used to hate them. I used to be one of those people that got Beatles suck. And then I listened to them in that music class I took at
I go back and forth on that idea. Like, I think they're great, but there's sometimes where I just listen to them like, what is this? Like, poppy bull crap. And
sure. There's some of their early stuff that's like, gosh, especially when they got started just doing covers. Like the Mr. Postman song, and it's like, all right, this is just the Beatles singing. Like, it's not, they weren't adding anything to those songs. So
hey, HAO fans, is my tongue blue?
Wow. Yeah. It's actually pretty staggering. I'm the same way with Elvis. I really like Elvis once I gave him a chance, and there's some people who just hate him.
I never got into Elvis.
Yeah, I just think he's got a great voice, and regardless...
Dude died on the crapper.
Yeah, I understand. But he's
from advanced constipation.
He's a top 10 vocal talent ever, I think.
Suspicious Minds is great. That's all I have to offer about Elvis. Sorry to any Elvis fans. I don't mean to be a douche. I just never got into him.
That's a great song.
I think it's the Imposters.
I gotta send you...
It's the Elvis Imposters.
He does Unchained Melody, which is a Righteous Brothers song. He did it live, and it was like, I don't know, a year or so before he died. I mean, he looks bad. He's in the jumpsuit. He's sweating. There's a guy who has to give him water and like whatever. But wow, he like lets it go, and he's just drenched in sweat.
The sweat's flying off.
It's so beautiful. The only reason I grabbed out Ride the Lightning, one is because we went to a discount bookstore that had records and CDs, and I could have had this on CD for $10 that day, and I didn't get it. And I'll tell you, in recent memory, that's one of my biggest regrets.
My CD collection's pretty impressive, but I think in terms of classics, this is definitely better. But I really wish I invested that money. Granted, I didn't have an aux cord or anything, and I didn't have even the transmitter because I didn't know those existed when I started driving, so I bought a bunch of CDs.
Yeah.
I really wish I knew about transmitters so I could have put more money into this collection earlier.
Sure.
But at your point, there is always that feeling of regret when you leave a thrift shop or something and you didn't buy it and you're like, it was like $4. Why didn't I just buy it? Even if it skips a song or something like.
That's just it. Because I look at this and it's like side one, Fight Fire with Fire, which I'm not familiar with, and then you get Ride the Lightning, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and Fade to Black. That might be the best three in a row of albums. I mean, that's one of the better sides of an album you can get.
Exactly.
Thing. 3 in a row bangers. Except for like, what's it called? Like a Greatest Hits or the Led Zeppelin ones that are just all great.
When I bought this, I was just starting to get into Metallica. It was probably sophomore year of college, I think, is when I got my record player. So 2 years ago now, or maybe what year? Yeah, that'd be 2 years ago, roughly. We've only been graduated for a few months, but yeah, the math works
around when I got mine.
You screw off anyone who's saying what are you talking about? At the time, I was just getting into them, and two things that really got me to buy the album. I went to FYE. Who charges a bunch of money for records. I would recommend going
go to your local
anywhere
shops.
Else.
Yeah, definitely go local.
That's not against FYE. It's just you can find them cheaper, and why spend all the money if you don't have to?
Right.
I love the cover.
It's one of their better.
I wanted to get into Metallica. Master of Puppets, of course, I heard. The stuff with the symphony, I heard. Some of their other bigger stuff I heard. I don't know if I listened to the full album or not, but I wanted to Ride the Lightning. It looked badass. Look at it. It's lightning hitting an electric chair. Providing the electric for the electric chair.
Yes.
And then I flipped it over. It's like, well, what's on this? Fade to Black's my favorite Metallica song.
Fade to Black is great.
And then I saw For Whom the Bell Tolls, what you said. And then when I actually played it, I heard Fight Fire with Fire and Ride the Lightning. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then Trapped Under Ice is pretty good. Creeping Death's good. Escape in the Call of, I don't even remember how you pronounce this. Cthulhu.
Cthulhu.
It might
I think
be.
it's Cthulhu.
Whatever. I don't remember them, but like, what's that? 6 out of the 8 songs
Are
love, like, are good.
And this was early Metallica.
It's
too.
early. Cliff Burton's still in the band. This is like, everyone says Master of Puppets. Again, I'm not a huge like Metallica fan. Where
Sure.
I'm one of the people that wears Metallica shirts I have a Metallica shirt, but I don't wear one everywhere. I don't buy their $400 box set like bundle things and all the other side crap they do. But I do like them. I do know a couple of their albums pretty well through and through. But like I would listen to this one. If I was trying to get someone to listen to Metallica, I would 100% say listen to this one.
Yeah, if you're gonna give them a whole album, that's a good one.
Also, ever since I heard the symphony version of Master of Puppets, the one they do with the symphony, the San Francisco one, or orchestra, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to offend any classical music people. I've always preferred that version now to the actual Master of Puppets.
I still got to listen to it, I think. I don't know if I've heard it.
As like raw and intense as that is, especially because the recording's kind of dirty-ish, grungy sounding.
Right.
As much as that's the case, something about that live one just feels more oomph.
I can understand. Yeah, I can
so
understand that.
I don't know. It might be a very unpopular opinion, but that's how I kind of feel about it. So
I like that.
That was Ride the Lightning.
Nice.
That's why I own that.
What I will say quickly about that, just because I made a Metallica playlist, and it was basically just a reason for me to listen to Fade to Black and One back to back, just because I like those. Those are my 2 favorite songs. Fade to Black came out first. Next time you listen to them, Fade to Black's great, and I feel like One took the formula of Fade to Black and just made it better. It's got the slow intro, gets heavy, ends that way. Oh, it's beautiful. This one here, The Stranger by Billy Joel, probably his best. I mean, I bring it up because we just talked about, wow, you got 4 bangers in a row basically on one side of an album. Like, that's rare. Moving Out, The Stranger, Just the Way You Are, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. Great. And then the other side, Vienna, Only the Good Die Young, She's Always a Woman, Get It Right the First Time, Everybody Has a Dream.
You listed off about 7 in a row that are probably
his, like, some of his biggest songs. If you were to
say name 10 of Billy Joel's best songs, or most known songs, all of the first 7 songs you listed probably make that list.
Yeah. This wasn't his first album, but I believe it was his second or third. And I mean, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant and Vienna are probably, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant is his best. Vienna's probably top 5. I mean, that's a really good song. And then, yeah, Only the Good Die Young and Just the Way You Are great. Moving Out is just one of those classic, like, hits that he sang. You know, it's...
I love when the transition of power, when you hand me the album and I hold it up and go, now we're talking about me. Is this in here? Yeah, it's in there. It just felt very good. This is old. Speaking of it being old, I got my record player, and my mom's like, I have some records. I don't know if you're going to like anything. And I didn't. I didn't like most of it. But she did give me Africa, the one Africa by Toto's on. I don't know what the actual name. It might be Toto. Toto 4 or something.
It could be a self-titled.
I can't remember. I'm not really into Toto that much, aside from Africa.
Who is?
One of them was this. And I knew Piano Man. And whatever album Piano Man's on, I listened to right when I got Spotify freshman year of college.
Okay.
And I was like,
Right. And then you hear that, and it's got all the hits.
I was like, okay, Billy, like, you got a second. The minute I hear,
okay, Billy.
In the first song, I'm like, ooh, okay. And
yeah.
The first time I heard Scenes from an Italian Restaurant when I played this, I was like, why are we not talking about that? Why are we talking about Piano Man? I like immediately, halfway through the song, I was like, this is better than Piano Man. And I've always shared that thought ever since. It took half a listen to that song for me to go, this should be like his song. I know it's a little longer, but Queen has Bohemian Rhapsody. Why can't this be the case for this song?
I would go on the record and say that is the biggest, like, I don't even know.
Overlooked?
The biggest oversight in musical history that Billy Joel's known for Piano Man. And that, like, which is fine. I mean, Piano Man's a hit. There's... You know what I mean? Like, Led Zeppelin's known for Stairway to Heaven over all their other songs, whether it's their best or not.
We went to Cleveland a couple weeks ago, and my uncle was playing music, and I really didn't take him to be a big music guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's quiet. He's kind of reserved. Really, really one of those people that. Who's your friend that went camping with us? The one that went camping. He visited RMU a couple times. Oh no, he's not your friend. He's John's friend.
Oh, Shane.
He's John's friend. Yeah, Shane.
That his name?
Yeah. I don't know why Shane. I thought it was not.
I knew who you were talking about. I was like, wait,
it was John's friend, not your friend. Anyway.
I mean, I'm friends.
He's quiet. Guy. He's a really friendly kid, but he's not really going to talk unless he's talked to. Keeps to himself, but if you get him going, like then he'll talk
really
to you.
Funny.
He appreciates that sort of thing.
Yeah.
He gives a one-liner that just hits better than anybody. Like even me, who never stops, he'll make a one-liner at some point. It gets a bigger laugh than me trying to make jokes for 45 minutes straight.
Sure.
I don't remember where I was going with that at this point.
Your uncle?
Yes, my uncle. My uncle's that kind of guy.
Gotcha.
That's the kind of guy my uncle is. Me forgetting whose friend it was kind of threw that thought off. It derailed it. But anyway, we're sitting on the back porch. He's got a TV hooked up to the back porch. Really nice lawn furniture, everything, the whole 9 yards. And we listened to a 25-minute version of the Immigrant Song. Wow. A live version.
That song is...
And I said, if I was at that concert, as much as I love Led Zeppelin, I would have been like, all right, the Immigrant Song is not the song to make 25 minutes.
No. I'll be honest with you. Led Zeppelin's my favorite band. I think they're the best four-man rock group out there. I'm not a fan of Immigrant Song. Probably. Wait, I'm mixing that up with Kashmir. Wait, Immigrant Song for 25 minutes? Wait. I swore you said Kashmir.
No,
that song is long and like...
Immigrant Song.
I think Stairway is longer than Kashmir, and it does not feel as long. Kashmir, it's good, but it has a very long feel to it, if that makes any sense. Immigrant Song?
Yeah.
Wow. 25.
Anyway.
That's insane.
My other point was that
oh my God.
As much as I love Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, I don't know if there's any segment of a Billy Joel song that's better than when Piano Man really picks up and he says they're sharing a drink they call loneliness, but it's better than drinking alone. The way he delivers it and then goes right into the solo, the piano solo. How many of those are there? I think that overall Scenes is better, but that portion of that song, I could listen to that portion of that song for about an hour straight before I said, all right, let's change it.
That's understandable. I do think one of his better piano playing songs.
Don't you dare say is piano. I thought you were going to say is Piano Man.
Scenes
and I was going to say there's the door.
It opens up very smooth and then it gets fast and it's got a lot of like it's great.
But what an album. I also love these albums.
I mean, yeah, could you imagine going like... What's funny too is like Vienna and Scenes from an Italian Restaurant weren't hits when they came out. Mm-hmm. Like it's funny talking about that, thinking like, wow, imagine if everything on that album was a hit the way it is now. Mm-hmm. That would have been... people probably would have been saying that over Piano Man.
My favorite thing about older albums, obviously this is like an original.
Yeah.
So, might be worth money. But there's no lyrics.com to look up the lyrics or anything.
So they have them all.
So they give them on this lyric sheet and everything. It's produced by... Also, they need to put something on the other side.
Right.
So you get these really fun pictures of the band and people, and here you have Billy Joel doing his best Sylvester Stallone impression with some boxing gloves strung over his shoulders.
That's awesome.
And then
I
on the
remember
back,
thinking of that when I don't know who
back of the actual album, it's just him and the studio band or whoever his touring band was, just chilling at a diner.
Is that who that is? Okay, I didn't know if it was supposed to be like
that or his buddy. I think actually no, this might be the guy in the one documentary I watched. That might be his drummer. There was a documentary on Netflix a while ago called Hired Gun, and it was about touring and studio musicians, basically, and just what their life entails. And this guy did not have good things to say about Billy Joel. I don't know if I've talked about that before, because Billy Joel got in trouble with like taxes or something.
Yeah, you said. And then
this guy was like, I'd been his drummer for 15 years, so I just said, hey, Billy, how about a raise? And Billy never talked to me again. I was like, well, you did wait until he was having a bunch of tax problems to be like, hey.
Picked a bad time.
I said, that's a bad time. All right.
Bad time, Bob.
All these classics, and then what's the last one?
And the last one is, I don't know the title of it, by Billie Eilish.
When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? By Billie Eilish.
Is that really?
It was a gift from my girlfriend.
I see. Well, now I I feel bad bringing it up. I don't want to be.
Oh no, she hated the whole process.
Oh, okay.
Because that wasn't like a she likes it and was trying to force me to like it thing.
Oh, okay.
I
good.
genuinely like that album.
Oh, okay.
So, but get into whatever you.
I didn't want to be further on the dislike list for making fun of her album choice. I see Bad Guy, and I've heard of that. When the Party's Over sounds familiar. ILOMILO. Is that?
I don't remember how you actually. Let me see it.
Ilomilo? Is that a word or is that an abbreviation?
I can't remember.
The first song is just 7 exclamation points.
Yeah.
What's the name of this album called?
When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Which is the refrain of the song Bury a Friend.
Wow.
That some people accuse her of ripping off from The Doors because the melody kind of sounds the same the way she delivers it.
Wow. I just, you answered my question by saying it was a gift from your girlfriend. I wondered why you had a Billie Eilish
Okay,
album?
here's the thing. Everyone was like, Billie Eilish was the talk of the town for a bit. Bad Guy was everywhere.
Yeah.
And I liked Bad Guy. I thought the production was good. It was a really, the beat bump, but no. And I was like, okay, this is kind of fun.
Sure.
And then I heard, which one was it? You Should See Me in a Crown, maybe? And I was like, that's all right. Then I heard When the Party's Over. Ultimate banger sad song. Like, banger of a sad song.
I've heard of that. Like, I'll probably listen to that one after I leave here.
And then Bury a Friend's just really good. The thing that really makes this, her brother does a lot of the production. He might do all of it. I'm not sure though. I don't want to be wrong. Mm-hmm. The production's insane on this album. Like the beats he makes, the melody, like it all just, it's good to listen to. What also makes this different is they always like say, oh, she's an industry plant. She might be. I don't really care. I didn't like her new album, by the way, to anyone who's asking if I'm just a complete like suck up to Billie Eilish music. But she like kind of does this whisper sing thing where it's like really quiet, kind of you hear the production more than you hear her, but it's still like nice to go with it. And it sounds different.
Okay.
And then she can actually sing high notes and stuff. So I'm not like a huge Billie Eilish fan, but I do genuinely enjoy this album.
No, that's
not the
all
whole album, but 6-7 songs from it, enough to warrant wanting to get it.
Sure.
Also, like what we're doing, it's a good conversation piece when a 22-year-old guy says, you want to see my record collection, and whips out a Billie Eilish album.
Fair enough. It was an interesting cover. I pulled it out. I said, are her eyes white out? And
When
when
Kayla gave it, I'm going to bleep that out so no one finds out who she is. When I was presented this, there was a picture of my face over her face, and the eyeballs were drawn in white to match it, and it was the creepiest but funniest
That's
thing
haunting.
ever. Yeah, it's haunting to see yourself with no pupils and just white in your eyes.
to see what you look like.
Yeah. All right, Kyle.
Well,
What time is it, my friend?
I think that brings us to the second rendition.
Yeah.
Kyle's Files, kids. We're back. We're back with a clutch of witnesses, and I know what you're thinking. Well, what good's a crime with a bunch of witnesses? Well, I'll tell you.
Fun fact, we watched this about 3 weeks ago at this point.
Yeah. There's a little
I haven't watched it since, but I looked at one note, remembered the whole thing.
Yeah.
I got 3 key talking points that I remember from my notes, which are on my phone. So don't expect me to contribute too much.
That's fine. I'll go through, and then you interject. It's pretty linear one to follow, but there's some speed bumps along the way. January 29th.
See what you did there.
Yeah. I now see what I did there, too. I didn't realize what you meant at first. Very good. January 29th, 2001, which is earlier compared to a lot of them, which take place, seems like 80s, 90s. So early 2000s in Duluth, Minnesota, Eric Schriefer is missing, and a friend calls and tells the police that he's missing. The beginning of this one is the 2 eyewitnesses say they saw someone who would come to be Eric Schriefer get ran over twice. Police can't recover a body or find the car, and they can't contact the witnesses who say they saw it. All they have to go on is blood and snow. So the whole opening of this episode is, well,
Brutal.
exactly. And what are we going to do if we got nothing? So Eric was an apprentice for the Boilermaker Association, they said. Known to be quiet and a good worker. That's the usual opening they
Sounds
give.
like Kyle at Smith.
You're right. They give the generic opening to tell you a little bit about this guy, which I think is good, especially because we find out he gets into a bar fight and that led to his murder.
his demise.
Right. It's cool that they at least say, like, people genuinely thought this guy was nice. It's not like, well, he got into bar fights a lot and he got what was coming to him. Like, it's cool.
They made it sound like a rarity that this sort of thing was happening to him.
And then, like, you see pictures, not that you judge people on pictures, but, like, this guy doesn't look like he's out to get anybody or, you know, super mean. So he's last seen at a party at a biker clubhouse. That plays into it. There's some rivalry between different members of different biker gangs and how that fight kind of breaks out. The two guys, the two witnesses, the clutch of witnesses, they saw Eric get into a fight with Joseph Waymanen, who's a member.
There were some last names in this one.
Charlie Johnson and Herbert. I wrote this specifically. It's not Herbert, I don't believe. I believe his name is Herbert Zingle. What's funny about that, Nick? That's his last name. Wow, you're going to laugh at a man over his name. Charlie Johnson and Herbert.
I just know what happens to Herbert Zingle, too, which makes it funnier. Oh,
Charlie Johnson and Herbert Zingle. Maybe it is Herbert, but Herbert Zingle is what I have written, and I'm pretty sure autocorrect would have came into play. They saw Eric get into a fight with Joseph Waymanen, rival biker member. Eric and Joe, they're separated. The fight continues outside. These witnesses say that I don't know why they had to like clarify this, but the witnesses say Waymanen easily won the fight. And it's like, well, you don't have to, you have to be an ass about it.
Like the dead guy was a scrub of a fighter. He was getting thrown all over Timbuktu.
You don't have to step on a dead man.
The narrator even like got into it. He's like, he was easily overpowered.
Yeah, I'm like,
not like he talks like the John Cena prank call guy like I did there, but he's like, he was easily overpowered and was no match.
Yeah, but
like, I don't care. He's dead.
He's the victim.
Don't stomp on his grave, assuming they found the body.
Jesus. Good time back. So while he was still on the ground, those witnesses say they saw Joseph Waymanen run him over in his truck. He was still alive, puts it in reverse, runs him over again. Then, and I have question marks here, the witnesses ran inside for fear of also being run over. I get that.
They saw how easily overtaken the dead guy was, and
yeah,
they said, we don't want any of that.
I get, like, if you watched a murder, you don't want people, you know, but, like, you're at a bar, there was a fight, and then the fight went outside, and then this dude ran over the guy in this truck. Like, it's not like you were spying and witnessed a murder secretly, and now you have to, like, try and, like, hide from the murderer. Like, he's right there outside. I don't... the fact that they ran inside.
They're bigger cowards than the little girl from the last one we did that just sprinted into the living room and saw her dead mom and then ran like marathon
25 miles
to go get a phone.
So they run inside. So now, and also they'd been drinking that night, so that calls into question the validity of the witnesses. Also, 8 inches of snow come down. It's in Minnesota, so the blood is just covered in snow. We find out that Joe Waymanen was a member of the Thunderbird gang, which I think is a very stereotypical name for a biker gang, right out of Greece, and he was ex-military. So it kind of makes sense that he won that fight so handedly, but let's still make it look like
I don't know
Eric
if it was
the
weak.
Thunderbirds
or when they mentioned the other gang. I don't remember what the other gang was.
I think the other one was Hell's Angels.
I thought it was
like,
Hell's Angels.
That's like the big one.
When they first said Thunderbirds, I was like, that's kind of a goofy, that's like not an intimidating name,
right?
You know? Not like it needs to be intimidating, but Thunderbirds doesn't sound like something like, oh, I'm a Thunderbird.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Okay.
And so they have to uncover the blood under the snow.
Thunderbird sounds like a 3-wheeled motorcycle gang name, not a 2-wheeled one.
That'd be kind of funny to watch because like you can't drive side by side, so you'd have to all go into a single
my
file
neighbor
line.
was so bad on a motorcycle, she got a 3-wheeled one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow. She would be like, oh. And then one day she rolled up with a little buggy. We always
sidecar.
Her friends would always come over on the motorcycle and be like, "Do you think they just like pick on her when she's not like she can't even stay up on a 2-wheel one?"
Yeah, like older people, it makes sense, but like if you're young, or like the 2 wheels in the front, the like jet ski or the snowmobile motorcycles, those always had me intrigued. So there's a trail of blood that leads to a large pool without much after it, as they uncover it more from the snow, which means that the body was dragged under the car, is what they think. And they also think that it was loaded into the truck, which makes sense. If there's a pool of blood somewhere, They also think because of the amount of blood that his heart was still beating, which I think all this is really interesting too. Like, you see a trail of blood, a big pool, and it stops. It's like, oh, okay, well, the body was there and it's not there anymore, but like, well, that means he was still alive when this, like, the forensics that it gives you is just interesting to think of.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
It's like when the guy was hunched over the one person.
Yeah.
I can't remember which episode that was, but they could tell the person was like hunched over them because of the way the blood splattered after it landed. It's like that, where it's like, that is a good way to think
Exactly. And it's like you didn't necessarily need to know that, but when you get a lot of those little clues that add up, it's like, wow, it makes sense why forensics has been so revolutionary in recent years. Where was I here? I was trying to move right along chronologically. I also made a note, when the person's heart stops beating, the body no longer bleeds. And to be honest with you, that seemed so, it's obvious. Like, if you cut your finger and your heart's not pumping, there's nothing to force the blood out.
That's the thing you never really think of, though. Not to make us both sound stupid, but I don't think that's a scenario you ever really think of.
Right, like when I think of a dead body bleeding, like if you cut my head off, it would bleed for a while, meaning my heart beats for that while. I don't know, but like I'm dead.
I think you hear that and it's like implied, but I don't think you ever, I've never really heard that.
Conceptualize it,
I've
yeah.
never heard it or, conceptualized it until he flat out said it. I was like, that makes sense, but I never really thought of that.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like an idiot
I don't
for
know,
being blown away, but yeah, it makes sense. Alrighty. My notes are a mix of like the chronological and then like what I found interesting, so I tried to go back and forth. They believe the body was lodged under the truck. They said he would have been dead in 4 hours if he wouldn't, without intensive care. So they used a coffee filter to...
Yeah, that's one of my notes. They used the coffee filter to check the blood.
Cool.
I thought that was really...
I think they just got a scoop of snow in the powder, and when the snow...
The guy that shot the marble off the tree, the first one of these we did. Look at all these callbacks we're having.
He showed up with his... It's pretty impressive that we remember all that, I'll be honest with you. So then we said, how do they know whose body it is since there's no body? Whose blood the body belonged to? Whose body the blood belonged to? Whose blood the body belonged to?
Yeah.
Which I'm saying, whose body...
Who was bleeding?
Yeah. Who was bleeding? Because they don't know who's
Mr. Body.
Yeah.
From Clue.
You've seen Clue?
No. I know in the board game the dead guy's named Mr. Body.
Oh, in the movie his name's Mr. Body. I didn't know his name was that in the game. That makes sense now.
If you like look at the rule book, it says Mr. Body is dead or something. Yeah.
That just blew my mind. Oh, you'll have to watch that. That's one of my...
I know it was another callback. We got to reference every episode. We're at least probably halfway there at this point.
I was going to say, we referenced the camping trip.
That was the big one. That was the toughest one.
So they know that it was Eric's blood because he had a surgery recently in that time, and matched the blood sample at the hospital. So boom, we know it's...
What if he didn't have that surgery?
Yeah, would that have just went cold?
That's
Because
one of those
the
weird...
witnesses were proved unreliable, and then they disappear, which I'll get to. Please hold. They signed the death certificate, determined it's a homicide, but they still didn't have a body, which was kind of interesting. Usually that doesn't happen, I don't think. They impound Wayman's truck. They find no forensic evidence. And then this is where we say the witness's credibility was no good because they admitted to being drunk.
They were hammered.
And I put Wayman and maintained being innocent. And finally, we had a suspect who didn't confess the second somebody asked him if he was even in the crime scene.
Well, he was a Thunderbird.
Yeah, that's true. He had a little... I don't know.
We all have a little Thunderbird in
Sure. He's probably... I don't know where I'm going with that. He's not gonna fold like a cheap tent like some of these witnesses. Even though that's a good thing because they're guilty and you want them in jail. So the police question his friend who said they went ice fishing. And they're like, oh, maybe the body's under the ice. They check all over under the ice in the cut a hole in the ice and scuba dive. And I was like, Jesus. I mean, I know it's their job, but my gosh, they were in there like...
That was some badass footage watching them just plop into the ice and go, ah.
And I was going to say, I'm pretty sure they said like as long as like humanly possible. Like they were pushing the limits. Just
they were like they could be under for 28 minutes given, or 30 minutes given the temperatures. Like they were in there for 29, 37. Like,
right. They pulled them out a second too soon. So the witnesses disappeared. The Hells Angels like basically just told them, hey, like, leave town type thing.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
Hey,
We don't want any of you wise guys.
why I oughta?
Yeah, I'm talking to Wayman. So the part that I thought was pretty funny, and they don't go into like the legality of it, but they take his truck again and they take it apart piece by piece, because like literally all of the interviewed guys are like, there had to have been something in this truck, and we were gonna find something, and I was like, that sounds a lot like you're gonna find something that really isn't there type thing, like not plant evidence, but right. And it's like, and then they're like, they took it apart and they show a guy with like
He
weird thing.
like
He's like
power washed it basically, hadn't he?
Wayman.
They said it was too clean, right?
Right. And that's fair to be suspicious, but like, do they have to get another warrant for it?
Yeah,
like,
it sounded like some time had passed, and they're like, let us
lot
look at
of
that
time.
again.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know how they were able to do that, but I guess good on
Because I
them.
feel like you need to have some sort of cause, especially
Right.
after they looked at it once and then
and found nothing.
nothing happened for a while.
What
Like,
I
how do you
thought-
just wake up and go, let's look at his truck again?
Well, and if I'm that guy too, maybe because I would just be paranoid, but like, one, I would have gotten rid of that car. I wouldn't have bothered washing it, or wash it a bunch and get rid of it. But two, they checked it all. They didn't find anything. I guess maybe not back then, but like, how do you not get rid of that truck as soon as they gave it back to you and said, okay, it's
Put it
clear?
in your front yard with for sale and marker on it. And
Do something. I mean,
call, knock on door.
$20.
Yeah.
You can have it in cash.
There was a murder committed in it. What?
So they take it apart bolt by bolt. They eventually find a single strand of hair and small blood stains, and it was literally like underneath. Like, it wasn't even easy to find. It wasn't like, oh, we just missed one. Like, they really
It's like
had
the
to.
tire cover, basically.
Yeah. So the blood and hair belonged to Eric. They're not sure. But before this happens, they kind of pressure that Wayman and guy. He says, I'll tell you where the body is to get a reduced sentence.
Yeah.
It was in the water. They just missed it. And
They need another 5 minutes of oxygen, and they would have been able to find it.
exactly. I think they found it in the spring, too.
Yeah.
Like, they had to wait until it thawed. The cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. I don't know if you remember that
No.
little snippet. Basically, there's a cinder block in Joe's mom's garage.
Never mind. That can wait a second.
Okay. Basically, the cinder block matches the wound on the head. And then he said he hit him over the head with the cinder block after he was already dead, but that didn't match forensics. And I remember his
wasn't it like an accident or something too? He hit him with a cinder block on accident,
Yeah, it was like
or to finish him off, or
right, but yeah, I just have that he claimed he was dead before the cinder block, and it was like
Yeah.
that he definitely used it to finish him off. That was what they were pointing to, and so he got 12 years in prison, parole eligibility after 8. And
this
that
dude
was
did nothing
no right. and
jail
that was,
service wise.
that was like the biggest part at the end of the episode.
Even
was
with
like,
the reduced term,
8 years in prison.
I was like, maybe I don't know if that's a death penalty state, but maybe instead of death penalty, you get life for
right.
instead of 2 life sentences, you get 1. Or,
Well, yeah, 2001. You figure if he served the max time, he was out when we graduated 8th grade.
we were in 3-year-old preschool.
Basically, he served while we were in grade school.
Yeah.
And when we got into high school, he got out of prison. That's
Right.
insane. For running a guy over and then beating him with a cinder block.
Well, he was a Hell's Angel. So.
Thunderbird.
Sorry.
Be careful.
Sorry to the Thunderbirds out there.
I think you should apologize to the Angels.
You know what really ruined this for me? Did you ever watch wrestling as a kid?
WWE or real thing?
WWE.
Yeah.
Like this the TV show wrestling? Yeah. This just made me think of if you had like 2 factions that were feuding and they did like a backstage brawl sort of thing. Especially the truck running over. All I could think of in my head was a corny WWE version of a guy being like, I'm going to get you, and then just riding over him twice or something. And then miraculously he appears and is like ready to fight.
Right.
They got the intimidating guy in the group to tell the other guys in the victims group, like, you better get out of here. And like the whole thing played out like a long-winded WWE storyline of 2 feuding factions of people, and that kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah, I can see that now that you mention it. And like, how often do you hear of a fight going too far, and the guy's like, you know what, I'm just gonna run him over in my truck? It's like, I mean, you had him on the ground in your hands. You know, if you would have choked him to death, I could have seen it. But like, he ran to his car.
What was the reason they gave that no one else stepped in? Was it just they were like, oh, they got to sort it out? I can't remember.
You know, that's a good question, because I don't know if they said if Charlie Johnson and Herbert Zingle were friends or not.
Not even that. Like, but they made it sound like there's a crowded like
Yeah,
clubhouse.
that's a good
so,
point.
And they said it started inside too, or they told them to go outside.
Right.
And
That's a good point.
but I only two. If they made a big deal of hey, take it outside. Only two really hammered guys or not. I feel like if you knew there was about to be a fist fight, a bunch of people would
would've
go.
went out, yeah.
Unless that's a common thing in biker clubs and it's just a let them duke it out thing.
But even yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's kind of like
They probably got a referee after this happened. And
it's probably like shame on those witnesses for going back inside and not.
they all probably knew he was going to smoke him. He beat him so easily.
Well, and in that, yeah, right. And in that crowd, you're not going to call 911.
Yeah. So
Bikers aren't going to do that.
I don't know. But what we're going to do is have another episode one day. Hopefully next week. This has been Have an Opinion. We'll see you next time.